Welcome to the fourth and final part of this series where I walk you through full NHL workouts so you can see how elite hockey players train for strength, size, and explosiveness in the gym. Quick background info before we jump into it. This session you're about to see takes place in phase 4 in the late off season in our maximal strength phase, where the goal is to get you brutally strong by lifting the heaviest weight possible with great technique. It's the fourth and last week of this phase, and for many players, this would also be the last week of off-season lifting. With a strong and experienced athlete, you would tack on a power phase, phase 5, after this fourth phase to maximize his power output before the season begins. But with a weaker, less experienced lifter, you would max strength peak them at the end of the summer and then start the preseason or in-season program going forward. All right, enough with the backdrop. Here's your workout. First exercise, power clean from hand. Classic power exercise for a hockey athlete. The rep and set scheme here is something you probably have never seen before. 1 double, 2 singles, and a triple. What's that all about? Let me break it down for you. The first set where you do 2 reps is not a true 2-rep max. It's a submaximal double whose purpose is to turn on your nervous system to make sure your technique is on point and that the bar is moving fast before you go up to the heavy singles. If you go too heavy with the double here, you won't peak on those singles, which is the whole point of this maximal strength phase. So don't max out before you get to a weight that actually matters. After the double, add more weight on the bar and do singles. Even though the program calls for 2 sets of 1 repetition, in reality, that could end up being 3, 4, even 5 singles. The point is you go up in weight for as long as your technique and bar speed remain good, and you still feel you have got a bit more left in the tank. So you really are going for a challenging 1-rep max here. For that, you got to be smart with the weight increases. If 225 pounds moves well, you're not going to go up to 245 in your next attempt. The gap is much too big. Make steady 5-pound increases, and once you get close to your limit, you can even do 2-pound jumps using a pair of microplates. Once you have hit your 1 RM for the day, the last set is a back off set with a somewhat lighter resistance for 3 repetitions. And now with a strong, experienced athlete, I would just call it quits at this point, if and when they hit a major PR on that last single, because that was the #1 goal in this training phase, to set a new 1-rep max. Let's say an athlete hits 275 or 315 pounds for the new personal best. I don't see any reason to continue. You got what you came here for. Move on to the next exercise. This is something I learned from the late Canadian strength coach, Charlie Francis. But if we're dealing with a weaker guy who hits 185 in their top single, then that back off set makes sense because they need more exposure to the lift to get better at the lift. So after the single at 185, take some plates off and do 3 reps at around 165 pounds. With our big barbell power exercise in the bag, it's time to max out again, this time on the trap bar deadlift. Possibly my favorite lower body max strength exercise. Same set rep scheme as with the power cleans. First, perform a submaximal double just to check bar speed and form. One thing I will say here about what I do differently with good lifters versus relative beginners. When you're strong and you have been training systematically for many years, you have many, as in hundreds or thousands of max single attempts under your belt. So you already know your limits and how a given weight feels on a good day and on a bad day. With an athlete like this, I skip the double and go straight to the heavy singles. I do this in my own training as well. But you cannot make that call when you're inexperienced because you don't know what good bar speed feels like. So I prefer the submaximal double before we release the handbrake. It gives you, the athlete, an opportunity to self-assess your readiness for today's heavy sets, while it also gives me, the coach, some valuable feedback. Because I can see if you're physically and mentally ready to go beast mode in the next few minutes just by looking at how confidently you approach the bar, how you set up, how fast it moves, and observing your overall body language, as well as what you tell me when I ask you, was that double heavy? Did it feel good? Are you ready to max out? For the singles, we start with a weight that is challenging, yet still leaves some room for load increases based on the weights you did leading up to this point over the course of the summer. To give you an example, let's say you trap bar deadlifted 500 pounds for a single last week. This time, your first single is at 505. If you completed a single at 500, you can do a single with 5 extra pounds, given that this is the second week of doing 1 rep maxes. And there's a good chance you still have a bit more in the tank after 505. So for your second single, you go up to 510. If that feels smooth as well, 515 next, repeat until you hit your true 1 RM for this session. Usually you'll get there within 2 or 3 singles, but if you happen to catch a great day and can do more, then keep going. Same as with the power cleans, that last back off set, I scratch it if an athlete hits a big PR on trap bar deadlift singles. Think of it as my gift to you for working your butt off in the off season and making great strength gains. We shut it down, you get to skip 1 set in your last week of training. Again, a weaker guy who lifts 365 pounds for a single, you don't get to skip anything, you're too weak. So scale that back to about 325 for 3 reps. On both the power cleans and trap bar deadlifts, take at least 3 minutes between sets. Strong guys will need plenty more, 4 up to 5 minutes for full neural recovery. If you try to rush your breaks and move on to your next set while you're still tired from the previous effort, that bar isn't gonna move anywhere. Now that our 2 heavy barbell movements have received a big fat green check mark, wrap up the workout with a triset of accessory movements for the quads, posterior chain, and abs. First exercise is the dumbbell Bulgarian split squat, also known as rear foot elevated split squat. Elevate your back leg and squat down until the thigh of your working leg is parallel to the floor or close to it for a full range of motion. Perform 5 repetitions per leg, so you gotta go heavy here. Take 90 seconds off, then continue with 45-degree back extensions for 8 reps. Load these up with plates, a resistance band, or if you're strong, a combination of both. Feel your hamstrings stretch under load on the way down, then squeeze your glutes at the top. Your entire backside, including your hamstrings, glutes, and lower back, should be on fire. For a full tutorial on how to get the most out of back extensions, watch the video linked somewhere up here. Take 90 seconds off again, then do 6 standing cable rotations. Keep your ribs down, turn from the hips and shoulders as you pull the cable first to your chest, then accelerate it forward. A great exercise for the obliques and strengthening your core for more shot power. After 90 seconds, go back to Bulgarian split squats and run through the entire tricep 4 times to finish your session. And there you have it, a full maximal strength workout to end your off season with massive PRs. So you go to camp brimming with strength, power, and confidence, following the best summer of your life. Speaking of which, to access my entire off-season workout plan that packs on gains like you've never experienced before, go to nextlevelhockeytraining.com right now. You'll find a training system that has produced more D1 and pro hockey players than any other online workout program ever created right there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this NHL workout series, then share it with your buddies and smash that like button. If we get at least 20 likes in the next 24 hours, I'll make another series where I cover full workouts from another NHL player. So tap that like button. Peace out.